Now what we have here today is 3 different starter homes. Now when I was building these, I had 3 things on my mind that I wanted to specify. For the first, it's efficiency. How quickly can you make it? The second one, how detailed is it? And what can you add to make it even better? The third one is realism. How much does it actually look like a house? So first up, we have this very small but very efficient starter. Now, when I started building this, I just put down a 5x5 cube and just started building. This is very efficient for a starter. It is made mostly of oak materials, mud, a couple of anvils that you could just remove entirely from the build, and other than that, it's just stones and coppers from there. So I wanted to add a little bit more warmth to the second floor, and it really does help with lighting. It makes this one feel a lot warmer and this one a lot more grounded, and I love that shift of the gradients between the two. You start with the deeper, redder colors at the bottom and slowly get nice lighter colors to the top, and same thing with the grays all the way up to the nice calcites. The way you get to the door on this house is just as unique. What I did is I built a staircase on the side that looks very unsturdy. It's kind of just wobbling around, doesn't look finished, and it leads you right up into the house. And then you can go down and you have all this room down here as well. Now I say all this room, but you'll see that this is probably the smallest of the starters that I've built today, and you'll see how very soon. This place is very detailed, but it's almost all the same color, and I did that on purpose. This is supposed to be built as quickly as possible. The other two are made with different ideas in mind, and that's just what I chose for this one. Now, I had different concepts for the pillars on the side, but eventually I decided to go with example 2 because copper is an ore. There's already plenty of it on the build, and I don't want to make it too expensive to build. Overall, I really do think this is a good starter. I am proud of my work here. I think that it's pretty inspiring. Now, next up is our detail class. This is very cylindrical. It is just a pillar. I built one pillar made with different materials, just layer after layer. And once I had built it up, I blended them all. I moved blocks around, I placed them in each other's layers, and eventually I got to a nice blend that I felt was just the right amount of color blending and gradient in this build. Now, all these materials are supposed to be the red earthiness of the dirt and the ground getting stuck to the stucco on the side of the house walls, and I think it's a pretty good representation here. And the detailing of the spikes with the grass, and I also decided to go with more of a witch hat roof, just a very conical shape, but with a little dome in the middle, just to give it a little bit more shaping. Nice flag at the top, and I also decided to try and mix in some detailing on the roof as well, just to give you guys some inspiration and some ideas there. If you do like that idea, then go for it. Be my guest. I mean, I always love adding these kind of details to make roofs more worn down and stuff, but I also left the back blank just so you could see what it looks like with and without. Now, I did line the staircase up with some logs and some fences, some gates, and even some iron bars. And I think that's pretty good as a railing because this without it was just very flat and it looked very loose, like you could walk off, and very unfinished unintentionally. There's a difference between intentional unfinished work and unintentional finished work. Now, this build specifically, when it comes to room, is actually really good. Now, I didn't furnish any of these interiors because that's not what today's video is about, but if you see in the distance, I have already made a video about interiors. If you guys want to check that out after this video, stick around, I will link it at the end. But back to this interior, it has so much potential, and if you guys want another interiors video but based off of these starter homes, I could come back and finish all of these. Let me know in the comments. Again, so much potential. It's a lot more room than what we have in our first starter. So overall, these 2 builds so far are wonderful. I love this front window. You could definitely open that up if you have it furnished. I just put that there as a little decorative piece because there wasn't much eye candy on the inside, so just decided to build that and leave it there. You could totally do so much with this window, but I like the openness of it so far, so I left it as is. What I got here was a very simple yet very detailed house. Now for our last build. This one is based off of the theme of realism. Overall, I think I did pretty well with this build. Just to get into more details with it, I originally planned on a 2-story house. I did that, but it just felt like something was very bland on the roof. So I decided to just make a little kind of roof balcony kind of thing on both sides. And I think that just that little extra detail, the mismatched roofing, bricks always help with details as well if you're making just a very, very basic pathway. As for the foliage around, I wanted it to feel very unkept, and that's just so it can blend with the roof. In order to do that, I felt like dead bushes, tall grass, and some ferns were in order just to make it feel a little misorderly and give it that untouched feel, that unkept feel. And I think I hit it pretty well with this house. If you go in here, you can see there's actually a fair amount of space. It's more than the first starter, but much less than the second. It's just more of something that looks a little more realistic, and I think it does well in that category. Overall, these builds are all about inspiration and inspiring you to become a better builder and to improve your skills. So I hope that there was a good takeaway from at least one of these for you. Maybe you're gonna combine all three. If you ever do something that you're inspired by here, please let me know. I'd love to see the results. And I want to see how many people I can inspire with builds, especially my builds. I'm Pat, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.